are Okay, so we're continuing with our Aishes Chayil. And so we said like Aishes Chayil can refer to the Jewish woman, and it can also refer very interestingly to specific Jewish women in Tanakh, which we will go through. We said it can refer to the Shechina, it can refer to the Neshama, it can refer to the Torah. So it has many, many different meanings. We said that Aishes Chayil was authored by Shlomo Melech, right? Also authored by, they say, Adam Harishon and Avraham Avinu too. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of depth to Aishes Chayil. And we said when you're looking at it, you have to look much deeper than just the surface sentences. So first, we'll get started. So Aishes Chayil, so it's very interesting. The gematria for Chayil is 48. So we called Aishes Chayil a woman of valor. So Chayil is 48, and 48 corresponds to the 48 ways to Torah. That's interesting. And it's Aishes Chayil mi yimtza. Mi is 50. So 50 is when we count between Pesach and Shavuos. It's on the 50th day that we get the Torah. What's very important for us to understand is that the power of the Aishes Chayil and the power of really any of us is Torah itself, you know? So I did want to tell you a very interesting story that someone said to me today. I found it very fascinating. So somebody was talking, and they're very sweet. I really love them. And they're a Baal Tshuva, and they have a son who was 17, yeshiva boy. So she was talking about how they went out with their cousin. The cousin is very, very far, like very secular, really doesn't know very much at all, older woman. And her son, like intermarried, like they're people kind of distant. So it was interesting to me because she was saying how the cousin was asking her son, who's 17, what does he learn all day in yeshiva? Okay. Now that's not easy. Like if you really stop and think about it, like how do you answer that? Right. So he was really trying to be super polite and, use all the right translations for the words. So he said, we learn the Bible. So she said, oh, the Bible. So you mean you study the Old Testament? So he said, yes, like we do study the Old Testament. So she said a good question. She sort of said, and what does that get you? That's like, what kind of knowledge? Like, what is that going to get you? So he was saying, well, it's very religious based. And then she said, really? And that's all you study? Oh, no, we also study the Talmud. Okay. So she kept trying to figure out, like, okay, so you study the Talmud and you study the Old Testament. And the next question is, like, what for? Do you know what I mean? Like, where is that really going to get you? Like, you're 17. Do you really think you're going to be a rabbi? Like, where does all this study really get you? Like, we like to be thinking that when we're going to school or you're sending your kids to school and they're learning history, math, and science or whatever, you're assuming it's supposed to get them somewhere, right? Correct or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, I was thinking about it. You see, in Aishes Chayil, Ishmael's trying to tell you that the Torah gets you somewhere. Not everyone's a rabbi and a rebbitzin, and yet we're supposed to be studying Torah daily, all of us. And you know what's interesting? Because when we're talking about the Aishes Chayil, she has a responsibility to create herself also. You can't just hang out on your husband. Like that's very interesting. You're going to learn that. So, yes, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, they were able to grow incredibly spiritually and, work as a unit with their husbands, but you have to be able to work on yourself as well. Okay. So if I really was going to ask you, and I'm asking it to you because I'm curious what you have to say, why are we studying Torah? Okay, Sandy.
Studying Torah teaches you how to be a whole person and a good person, how to treat others, how to treat yourself, how to live your life, how to behave in
Yes,
business. It doesn't
yes,
teach you the specific business skills. It tells you how to be a mensch in business,
right.
which will help you grow.
Right. Which is interesting. And I think it even can give you a lot of skills because it gives you a lot of thought and thinking. And do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of skills and resources that you get from Torah that can really like hone you in. Like a lot of times you'll see like the people who graduate from studying Torah, if they go into law, they're really good at it, because
They have to learn the law, or
yes,
you have to learn accounting. You have to learn the trade,
have to
but the
learn it.
Torah teaches you how to be.
To be the mensch in it, really how to walk through life, how to have a marriage, how to raise children, how to this, how to that. And it's very interesting. So what I would say really is it's the number one life skill. And not only how to live with you and other people, how to live within your own self, how to live with the concept of an almighty and purpose and meaning. So it's a very interesting idea. So here's what it's saying here right away in Aishes Chayil, that a Jewish woman has to know Torah. Okay, we need to know hashkafa. You need to know chumash, where you're coming from. You need to know Tanakh. You need to know halacha. You need to know a lot, right? And if you learn Torah, it can give you the source, the strength to navigate life. That's what you're really looking for. And that's what we're saying even here with the Aishes Chayil. So if you look at Aishes Chayil, there's 22 letters like the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and it goes alphabetically. Aishes Chayil, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, right? So they say Aishes Chayil, and we're going to learn it, is composed of 19 different Jewish women. All right. 3 of the lines are going to be specific to Rus. Remember we said like Shlomo Melech writes it for Rus as a great tribute and a great piece of gratitude to her, right? Because she is really the matriarch of the dynasty of David HaMelech. That's just a very interesting reality. And we said that she sat on his right side. And when he would judge, right? And as he lived as a king, she gave him advice. She was one of his confidants. What did we call her? The royal mom, right? Lahavdil. It's just interesting for us to understand. So why was this so important? Why is it important that we have this piece? A piece of poetry, a piece of understanding, a proverb, all of this for us to understand this woman of valor, who we are really saying every Jewish woman is. That's why you're singing to them every Friday night. Every Jewish woman is working hard to build her Jewish home and to transmit Torah and to everything else. So why, we're going to go through these women. They're very unique. So what's the purpose of learning about Sarah, Rivka, Rachel? You're going to be surprised who's in this whole list of 19 people. But why is it important for us to know these people and know the character traits that they really embody?
Because you can learn from them.
Yes.
They are part of your life.
Okay, you can learn from their part of your life, and you have to know that you have their genetics. Okay, you have their spiritual genetics. So very important. If you know what I mean? You sometimes feel down. It's good for you to know, wait a minute, my bubby, whatever. You remember bubby so-and-so, I'll tell you a story that somebody told me this week. So they're saying their family, the siblings started fighting. It can happen, right? Okay. So now what the siblings told the mother is, we're not coming to the same events. If there's a Hanukkah party, you know what I mean? If you invite them, then we don't come. All right. If you're having them for Shabbos, then you have to have us the next Shabbos. Okay. So in the beginning, she was going along with it. And then it hit her. And she called them up. She called them on it. And she said, your booby was a Holocaust survivor. And to her, the only thing that mattered is family. You either get your act together or you're not coming to my house at all. And guess what? They got their act together. Okay. So sometimes that's another reason. Okay. You have to know who you are and where you come from, right? So you know who you can be, and you know that you have all of that potential. Now, just it's very interesting, when you look in Pirkei Avos, it usually will say the rabbi's name. It'll say Hillel Omer. Hillel said, right? Hillel said that we should be like the students of Aaron and love people and make peace. You know why Hillel could say it? Because Hillel was it. So in Pirkei Avos, they will never say the name of the rabbi saying something unless he
said it.
Yeah, unless he said it and
walk the walk.
Right.
Embodied it.
You have to live it. So when you're going to see these different sentences of the greatness of these different women, you have to know that whatever it's going to say personified who she was. All right. So it's not like we flippantly say something, that's you. Like, it's nice for us to do this, but no, it's if you're going to be teaching a lesson and very important as parents, and you could mess up and you could say, sorry, I messed up, but this is my real value and this is what I really try to live and this is how I truly try to be. Do you know what I mean? And the more you are the example, the greater impact it has on those around you. Okay, so let's see how this all comes about. So if you look in a medrash in Pirkei Avos, it's very interesting. It says 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. And 10 tests were given to Abraham Avinu. That's very interesting. What are we talking about here? So we're saying 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. Okay, so it took 10 generations till Abraham came on the scene. And then it took 10 tests until Abraham became Avram Avinu. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Okay, 10 generations from Noah to Abraham, and then 10 tests from 10 tests that Avraham Avinu was given.
So correcting the mistakes of each of the generations?
Okay, yes. And what else is it? What else is it? That Abraham only became Avram Avinu with his
last test, with the son, with the Akedah.
With his Akedah, with the tests. Okay.
But then Hashem changed his name.
But like in other words, look like this. From Noah to Abraham, right? From you just being born, we're calling him Abraham here. So we're not referring to the name change. We're referring to the fact that he becomes Avram Avinu. So in other words, all of us could be born whoever we are, right? But for us to really maximize that potential, what are you going to need?
Tests. Challenges.
Growth.
Ooh, lots of fun. Okay. So guess what? Every one of these great Jewish women were not born great Jewish women. That's what the Torah is trying to tell you. Okay. You can have a capacity, a propensity, but you're going to have to make the choices to what? Activate the muscle. And Hashem is going to put you in the gym. Okay, I'm telling you now.
Oh boy, yes.
Yes. All of us are going to the gym. Now you can still be in the gym and do nothing. Right?
True.
Like when you get to the gym and you see these ladies, I used to love it. Like they were really just watching television. They're saying, you're not using it. It's in front of the screen, or they're leaning on on the treadmill. They're not really, do you know what I'm trying to say? You got to be careful. So we learn from the challenges. And Avram Avinu, all of the ones that are the matriarchs, like this beginning of the Jewish family, turns into the Jewish nation. They changed the spiritual genetics. It's not a simple thing what they accomplished. And just as much as Avram Avinu, Avram becomes Avram Avinu, Sarah becomes Sarah Imenu. And she's considered like Ish Echad Keguf Echad, like one man, one soul, right? They're considered one body, right? Ishto Kegufo, right? The wife and the husband are one. So whatever accomplishments Avraham has, Sarah has. So Avram could be the man of Chesed, but he needed the wife of Chesed to buy in. Do you know what I mean? She would have to be willing. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if I want 4 doors on my house, that are open constantly. I can't tell you. I'm not so sure about it.
Are we talking about Abraham or
Abraham? We're saying Abraham and Sarah.
Abraham and Sarah, okay.
You think about it, right? You have to appreciate, right? You have to appreciate that to become this greatness and to be, give you your Aishes Chayil story, you got to put skin in the game, right? And if Abraham had 10 tests, guess what? Sarah had 10 tests. She goes along, like all those tests were together, right? It was pick up and leave, right? Take Yitzchak. Like those are not little tests. That was a joint effort, all right? So we have to appreciate all of this. When you have that joint effort, you really turn your kishkas around. You become a different person. And I think a lot of us, like, we could all vouch for this from our own struggles, right? In life, nobody here has been spared a dime. You know what I'm saying? Everybody here, Baruch Hashem, has gone through struggles. I don't believe any of you have not. I can see who I'm talking to. Every one of you, right? If you work the struggle and you work the process, you're not the same person that you were before, right? You're up a notch. Your strength is a little different. Your perspective is different. So this is what we're saying. You actually, what they did was they changed their spiritual dynamics. And that's where you get the Jewish people turning into the people of, the shame and the people of kindness and the people of mercy. Do you know what I'm saying? This doesn't come from nowhere, all right? It comes from the hard work that these people did. So it says here, Aishes Chayil miimsa, right? So we said, where are we going to find this, beautiful Aishes Chayil? V'rochok ninim, michra, and her value is far beyond pearls. Okay, so this is very interesting, the way they write this. It's so cute. Aishes Chayil mi yimsa, mi yam, from the sea. Isn't that interesting? Mi yam. You see when you say those two words together? You find her from the sea. Where do you find pearls?
In the sea.
In the sea. Now, what's so interesting about a pearl? Okay, so
they're hidden.
What?
They're hidden. They're hidden.
Yes, excellent. First of all, they're hidden, right? So everything that's valuable is from within. Okay, so very beautiful. A natural pearl begins its life inside an oyster shell. Okay.
Yeah.
And an intruder, okay, such as a grain of sand or a bit of floating food, slips in between one of the two shells of the oyster, a type of mollusk, and the protective layer that covers this mollusk's organs, called the mantle, right, starts waving itself, like it starts kind of going around that little irritant. It's like fighting the irritant. And when it fights the irritant, you know what happens? It makes a pearl.
Wow.
So it's really from the challenge. It's from having this little thing inside of you that's irritating you and you having to, fight it, that's how you come up with your pearl. And your pearl is very unique and very authentic.
That's a pearl right there. What you just said, that was a pearl.
Yeah. So beautiful. So beautiful. And so that's why we're using this as the mushal. And it's funny, like anyone whose name is Penina, that really is the name for pearl and the name for inside, because that's where the whole thing is created. So Aishes Chayil miimsa, she's found at the bottom of the ocean. Okay. She's found when she has her little internal challenge.
But she's treif.
Yes. It's her internal challenge. And from that internal challenge, you're creating little pearls, right? That will be your necklace that you'll take home with you. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so Rabbi Twersky used to use this a lot. Okay, so you know that Rabbi Twersky was, he was a famous, what's it called, psychiatrist and writer, and he was in charge of a rehab center. And he used to say the best people he felt, it's very interesting, he'd always talk about it, that the best people he knows and the most honest and incredible people were the people at the AA meetings. Yeah, because they were consistently battling. Like if you have an addiction to alcohol or drugs or something like that, it never goes away. If you go to an AA meeting, people will stand up and say, I'm a recovering alcoholic for 27 years. So it's not that, you know what I mean? And they still have to keep going and keep going and keep going. So he said like he would be very impressed and he would call them pearls. That was the way he would look at this group. So it's a very beautiful idea. Okay, so now if you had to look at the matriarchs, right? If you have to look at the Jewish women, and we're always talking about like the Jewish women in Mitzrayim and Sarah and Rivka and Rachel and Leah, and even the idea of the word aim, the idea of mother, what did we say? It's the root word in the word amuna. Okay? So it's interesting how they say that there is mida, there is character traits that are more profound in the male and in the female. So they say the man's character trait for emes, a man has a real like inclination towards what is truth. And you know what I mean? I think that's why they can battle it out when they're learning Gemara. Like a lot of times when I'm hearing, like, you know, sometimes you get these drushas from the men, you know, like a rabbi gets up and he starts saying his drusha. And I'm just like, can we get to the point? You know, I mean, like, I hear 400 different questions on why, you know, just get to the point. Okay. Why is that? Because we have amuna. Amuna is like we have the faith. Like we trust that you're going to get me to the answer. So just get me to the answer. You know what I mean? The man wants to go, you know, and find a nitpick in this and that. Okay. It's like crazy. All right. So it's interesting. Although we have this amuna, you have to know that amuna is not blind. All right. We don't have just a leap of faith. We first will investigate, right? We'll see what the statistics are. We'll understand that, you know, what are the probabilities of things? Is there a God? Isn't there a God? Is the Torah true? Is the Torah not true? Do you know what I mean? And once we are comfortable with that understanding, we will be faithful. Do you understand the difference? Okay. So the definition for amuna is not faith, it's faithfulness. That's what amuna means. So I want you to tell me what's the difference between the two. What's the difference between faith and faithfulness? What does faithfulness mean?
Acting.
Loyalty.
Yes. Ah, beautiful. So faithfulness is the verb. Faith is a noun, right? You have faith. You have a thing, person, place, or thing. Faithfulness, she acts with faithfulness, is the verb or the adverb. All right, that's what faithfulness is. Faithfulness is loyalty. Okay, why loyal? Because I believe in that bigger picture. I see the bigger picture. The bigger picture for me is the truth. Okay, that's very, very important because today there is very little faithfulness to anything. Right? So very little faithfulness in marriage if people are getting married at all. Do you know what I mean? Very little faithfulness to anything. Tell me to what? Tell me like.
That's also because there's no belief that there's a truth or falsehood.
Ah, beautiful. Okay, and that was beautiful. All right, I'm going to give you that because I don't know if I would be able to believe anything either. No, you're 100% right. Okay, but what is our job? So our job is to look for the MS, look for the truth. In our reality, Hashem is truth, Torah is truth, it's all MS, right? And now we as women practice that faithfulness. Okay? That's tough because faithfulness, you have to be able to be faithful to something. You have to be able to let go of ego, right? So that's what you can see. Like where the men were like, no, we're not going to Israel. This isn't safe. The women are, you're crazy. You know, God took us out of Egypt. He showed us this. He did this. We've had a gazillion miracles. If God says move forward, move forward. What's wrong with you?
But men don't have to be faithful too?
They do. I'm saying they don't have this, they don't have that same stamina in the concept of faithfulness that women have. We lean into faithfulness a lot more than men. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying about the Aishes Chayil. And because we lean into that faithfulness, we are greater transmitters of Torah than even the men. Okay?
Yep.
You're saying it's easier for women to hold on to that than for men too?
Yes.
That they need an intellectual.
Yes. Yes.
Something.
Or
I need a lot of intellectual.
You know what? No, it's not only that you need an intellectual. Women need an intellectual too. But once they get to the bottom of it, they're going to lean into this concept that intellectually there are times when I will not understand God. And I can't, like, my ego can't get in the way.
It's easier for women to hold on to.
Yes.
Once you get there.
Yes. Yes. It is. And that's why the Torah tells you a few things. Like it says, like really, it's in the hands of the women to transmit the Torah. That's why when it says when they were going to get the Torah at Sinai, first Moshe goes to the women and says, like, let the women buy in. And I mean, for me personally, working in Kiruv, I've seen it a million times. The woman's not bought in, it's a done deal. If the woman's bought in, even if the husband isn't bought in, the children will be influenced, and you'll see the husband will come around. Okay.
Well, she's the Akaris bias.
Yeah.
She
You
makes the home, the structure in the house.
You really do set a tone. This is what Aishes Chayil is really trying to tell you. You do. You can. It's you. You have this incredible strength, right?
Yeah.
You have this incredible strength. Okay. So that's what we're saying. Emunah means faithfulness. It also means, it's very interesting, it shares a shoresh with the word for craftsman. Okay, so it's a very important thing for us to know. Emunah is not just a natural little, I have faith. Wow. No, it's a craft. Okay. So like, let's, when you were like, these people are incredible artists, really good at pottery, or my friend Tanya, who is a phenomenal artist. Okay. Phenomenal. Like she did this mural in my house. So she showed up with all these kinds of brushes and this and that. And I'm like, huh? Like, wouldn't just one brush do it? And she's, no, this is the brush for this, and this is the brush for that, and this is how you make a tree with a fan brush. And it was on and on and on and on. So what are we trying to say here? Emunah is a craft. So what does that mean? It means you have to learn it. You have to understand it. You have to see the tools and the resources. You have to practice it. Okay? So give me some examples. Okay, I want to see somebody like unmute. Tell me some examples of how you would take Emunah and feel like it's a craft. Tell me, like, how would you practice the craft of Emunah? I'm being real, right? Tell me how you're going to get better at Emunah. Right? You put it like this: the world is crazy. We had all better be working and pumping our Emunah muscles. I'm not kidding. You listen to the news, you have no idea where to put yourself. Okay, as a Jew today. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to fine tune our craft?
Repetition.
Okay.
Whenever
so
we say something, and we talk to Hashem and thank Hashem and feel Hashem in whatever it is, and just being aware about every little thing.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so you're going to look for all the hashgacha pratis in your life. You're going to acknowledge it. You're going to say it. I like the way you said it. We're going to thank Hashem for it. We're going to learn. We're going to study. You're going to study Sfarim on Emunah. You're going to read something every day, right? There's all kinds of concepts. People have these daily Emunah. You can find them anywhere, right? 1 million of them online today, right? Right? All this, Rabbi Efim Goldberg, millions of people today are doing little snippets, little podcasts, little 5-minute things, all on Emunah. Why are they doing that? Because when you tune into it, it fine-tunes the craft of Emunah. And it's probably the most important craft you're going to get. If you want to know how to navigate life, that's it. Right? Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to have to learn how to be very faithful to this reality. So it's a faithfulness. Okay, now you have to understand something that really blew my mind. Today I was listening to Rebbetzin Ruthie Halberstadt, who is the daughter of Rabbi Dr. Tatz. You know who that is? Akiva Tatz. Okay, so very, very interesting to hear what she had to say. You know how hard we're going to have to hold on to this Emunah? Because without Emunah, you cannot make the right free will choices. Okay? You have to believe that what the Torah has told you is correct. And when it comes to defining right and wrong and true and false and good and bad and close to Hashem or not, you're going to need Torah's wisdom. Now, she said this is so true because you're going to have faith in it. It's going to have to be more than what you know, because so many of us know so much and still do the complete contradictory thing. True or false?
True.
And you asked yourself, like, he told over this story, I couldn't believe this. So this Rabbi Dr. Tatz, when he was a doctor, he first started out, he worked in Emerge, and there's something called bogus disease. Okay, so somebody walked in with bogus disease. Okay, Lynette is shaking her head, so you can help me. So bogus disease is a disease that smokers, okay, cigarette smokers get bogus disease. It's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. So whatever happens from inhaling all the smoke, it actually affects the body and your breathing, and certain limbs on your body can turn blue to the point that you have to amputate them.
Mhm.
And if a person would just stop smoking, it would stop. Okay? So he's in this emerge, and this person walks in, and his leg is completely blue, and they're going to have to amputate his leg. And they're talking to the guy and telling him, you have to stop smoking. And what does he say?
I can't.
Exactly. He said, I can't.
Yeah.
Now the question is, I can't or I don't want to?
I don't want to.
Ah, okay. It's interesting.
I was a smoker.
Yes, you know. So when you put it on like a scale, okay, let's say all of us, like just think about all of us, everybody here, let's say you've got a little bit of high blood sugar. You know, a lot of us are borderline type 2 diabetes. Okay, a lot of people like that, or high cholesterol, or any of these things, right? You know, as we're getting older, we're all getting into something, okay? So now you put it on a scale. I want to have a happy, healthy, long life, or I want a donut. Which one do you really want more?
Yeah.
Happy life, long
A happy
life.
life. But when it's whatever, you know, 10:30 at night, and you had a really hard day, and you're like just in this mood, and this person said this, and the printer's not connected to the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Or the best one was I was gardening, and like a dodo, I stepped on the rake. Baruch Hashem, it didn't hurt
Oh
my
my God.
but the rake, the handle went boing right into my nose and into my head.
Oh
It's like,
my
shit,
God.
not again. Like I'm an accident.
No.
But I was just laughing. Okay, so all these kind of things happen in your day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want good health. It's 10:30. I just had like all this like tension and junk all over me, right? Now I sit
Right.
down and I'm like, okay, Tehillim or donut? Tehillim or
Ice cream.
Ice cream, yes. That's right, ice cream.
So that it's really tough. Shem says it's really tough. Home field advantage to the body, home field advantage to gravity that's pulling you down. You know what I mean? Only the candle, the neshama, you know, ner Elokim nishmas adam, the only thing that's trying to jump up. But generally speaking, it's interesting the way she phrased it. This Rivka Halberstadt, she said, the miracle of free will choice is that you can even make bad decisions. Just like it's a miracle to make a good decision, it's really a miracle that with all this, like this bogus story, he met the guy 2 years later. You know, he was like doing rounds, and this man came in. He was already missing 2 legs, and his arm had already turned blue, okay,
Oh
which
my
means that was
gosh.
going to be amputated. What was in the hand of the only arm left?
Cigarette.
A cigarette.
Cigarettes.
A cigarette.
You just have to stand outside a hospital and see people who are standing outside, hucked up like
If he would
me,
lose the other
and a
arm, he
cigarette
won't
in
be
the
able to
hand.
smoke.
Yeah, you're right. You're really right. You know, it's so funny you said that because sometimes you are outside a hospital. Now that you've said it, you're reminding me that that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've been outside of Princess Margaret and people are standing there smoking.
Okay. With the IV attached to the other arm.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. So, like, Aishes
That's what I'm
Chayil,
about.
you know, you have to be a warrior and you have to have such faith in your conviction. You have to be faithful, demonstrate faithfulness to your conviction. Do you see what's going on? That's what they were able to do because things that were going on, like if you look at Sarah's life and all these people's lives and Abraham's life, like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like at the end, Hashem says, "Don't worry, Yitzchak is fine. He's going to be the progenitor. It's all going to be good." And then you get down, and Sarah died. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, woohoo! Like, how do I stay faithful? Do you know, like the kind of oomph you have to have? You see these Israeli soldiers, Nebuch, that lose their body parts. And then when you're interviewing them, all they're saying is, "I'm so sorry, I still can't be in the army." Somebody was telling me over the story of, it was, oh, hold on one second. Karen Sermon said she just had the privilege of meeting a chayal who was an officer, in the tunnels. Was one of the officers, discovered one of the first tunnels in Gaza. And he was ahead of his platoon. And as he got into the tunnel, they blew it up. He lost his eyesight. He became blind. And now he works for the Mossad. He said, "I cannot give up all the information that I have and all the stuff that I know." And he said, "The only way I'm going to survive this," because he was very young. I don't even know if he was in his 20s. So the only way I can survive this, if I will give back. Imagine, that's the only way I'm going to be able to survive. So this is what I'm trying to say, like this incredible faithfulness to what you know is true, right? That's a lot, that's a lot. And what's interesting? When this Dr. Tatz, Rabbi Dr. Tatz, was telling over the story, he said the guy was a normal guy. He wasn't on Skid Row. He had a family. He had a business. He was like everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just everyone has their vice, right? Just this one overpowered them. It was just so important for us to understand. So I think it's like really important, because this thing that comes into you, the Torah calls it a ruach shtus. What's a ruach shtus mean? What's shtus?
Silly.
Silly, useless,
Nonsense.
stupid, nonsense. Excellent. So ruach shtus, what comes in? Donut. And boing. Okay. It's down in 5 minutes. And the minute you hear, "I can't have it," another ruach shtus. Don't tell me what to do. I need some freedom. Like it's crazy. So it's like, and it's interesting because when you look at the Aishes Chayil, the soldier, and the way she's described, it's just doing the same thing, being faithful to what you need to do, getting up in the morning and getting people's lunch and la 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 la. Like when you look at the stuff, going to work, she goes to work. Do you know what I mean? And that's her praise. Her praise is just making daily, consistent decisions in what she believes in and in the truth of what she wants to accomplish. That's the greatness. It's unbelievable, because that's what, like, if you look at what Hashem wants from us, that's what it is. It's a lot of consistency. Get up in the morning, do your davening, do your whatever, give some charity, call a good friend, make lunch, la, 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 you know what I mean? And when day in, day out, then Shabbos, you know what I mean? Make Shabbos, and then before you blink, guess what? Shabbos again, right? Like, it's just like this, do. And Hashem says, you keep doing consistent choices, you keep being faithful to this program, you're an Aishes Chayil. Because there's so much pulling at us to take us anywhere but, So I think it's so beautiful. And a Chayil, a soldier, is like that. You go into the army, it ain't fun. You got to make your bed the same way every day. You got to march in line every day. You got to carry the stuff on your back every day. You got to follow what? Orders every day. You have to be faithful to the mission. Okay? And this is the same as we are. So an Aishes Chayil is a person of great spirit. So now it's interesting what you're going to find out now. So when you look at the imahos, those are the foundation stones. So everybody knows one thing. When you build a building, the most important part is the foundation. Anybody ever had leaks in the foundation of their house? Like, forget it. Right? I had that. Did anybody have leaky basement, leaks in the foundation of your house? It's a whole geschäft. It's a whole deal, right? Because no matter how beautiful and wonderful your house is, if there's water in the basement, where's your house headed to? Okay, so you need a very strong, solid, secure foundation, and that's the imahos. Okay, so that's why when you're looking, like so much of our tefillah, as women, you're lighting your candles, right? You're giving brachas to the children. It's always going to be like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, right? These are the foundations. So where is their greatness from? And what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe it. It's like, what? Okay, this is a wow moment. Anybody know who Abraham's brother was?
Oh,
He had a famous brother, Charon. Okay,
okay.
okay. So Charon, who was his brother, had 3 children. Does anybody know who they are? So I'll give you a hint because Abraham married one of his kids.
Sarah. Oh,
Yes. Sarah. Who else?
Sarah and Rivka.
Say again.
Rivka.
No. Good
Rivka
try. Good try. Sarah. Lot was her brother.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen carefully because we're going to finally understand the genealogy here. Okay, so Sarah, Lot, and the only way I can ever remember this is I actually know somebody who has this name, Michla. Machla. No, Milka.
Yes.
Okay, like, do you know anyone? I know someone named Milka. I never understood where this name came from. Okay, so here's where it's from. So you kind of wonder, like, what? Okay, so listen to the story. Okay, Abraham is the first one to find Hashem, and he really starts influencing people. Guess who he influenced? His brother. Okay, so Choron becomes a believer just like Abraham is a believer. They're arrested, all right? They're arrested and they're going to be thrown into this fiery furnace. That's why the place that they came from is called Ur Kasdim. So who was the head honcho of Ur Kasdim? Who was the king who declared himself a god? Nimrod, right?
Nimrod, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So now Nimrod declares himself a god, right? Abraham and Charon are believers in Hashem, right? Terech, their father, is a big idol seller and idol worshiper and close to Nimrod. So he snitches on his own children. And what does he want to do? He wants to knock the sense into them. That's what he wants to do. It's not that he wants to see them die. He just wants to get them, like, get out of this garbage. So I'm going to give you a good slap in the face. I'll take you to Nimrod. And he's going to tell you, either you change your ideas and you commit to me and to the idols, or you're going to burn in this furnace. Okay? So now Charon is there and Abraham is there. So who goes first?
Abraham.
Yes. So Abraham goes into the furnace. He says, I am not willing to give up my beliefs. I would rather die for the Almighty than to be an idol worshiper and believe in you. Okay, so they throw him into the furnace, and what happened?
Comes out.
Miracle, he comes out. Now his brother's watching. Okay, so now you're
but he didn't have he only went in believing he'll come out.
No. So the Medrash tells you that is not the case.
It's not the
Not
case?
the case. That he did not go in with that idea.
That he'll come out because Avraham came out.
He didn't go in thinking he would necessarily come out, because one thing he did know about himself, he wasn't Abraham.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? He knew he didn't have the same strength as Abraham, but he was willing to do it. In his eyes, it wasn't worth living if it was going to be an idol worshiper. So he goes in, right? And it's an interesting idea. And they say he was the one who branded that kind of emunah. An emunah that it's on Kiddush Hashem. Because a lot of times you can be doing the right thing, but it doesn't necessarily pan out the way we thought it should. Like that concept, like no good deed goes.
He did it because he was depressed.
No, he did not. He was not depressed.
I love that.
Oh, okay. So now listen, because I want you to hear the rest of the way the family tree went. I wish
Wait,
I could.
but Gail, why do they always teach you or teach little kids that he didn't quite believe? He only believed and did it because Abraham
In
did
fact, they
it.
say no, that's not what the Medrash says. In fact, it
Yeah,
says,
but why do they teach that?
you know what? They teach a lot of things in a very simple way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
So I don't,
okay.
you know what I mean? Like it could be that it's
Right,
beyond, you know what I mean? And there's always a surface and then there's beneath the
right.
surface. And it could be that he would have been, it could be he did go in, you know,
Mhm.
hoping that that was what's going to be. Do you know what I mean? And it
Right,
definitely on the outside looks like that. Do you know what I mean?
right.
According to this medrash, that's not the case. And so now listen, like how the rest of the family gets in, because I did always wonder, didn't you always wonder why did they send Rivka, like when they said, send her to my mishpacha, you know, to find,
No, Eliezer.
yeah, send Eliezer, sorry, to find Rivka, and, right? And
Right.
Sarah and Avram were like, okay, we're going to go to Sarah's mishpacha. So how is it that it's mishpacha? Because you want to see how this whole thing traces in, okay? So far we have that Haran dies on Kiddush Hashem, right? And it's a big thing, right? Even if
Mhm.
you hoped, you know, like could be Abraham went in and went, I don't care what will happen. And Haran went in and went, God, give me the miracle you gave Abraham. But I still went in. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Okay.
wasn't Rivka's mother Milcah? Was that?
Yes. Yes. So now we're saying Haran's daughter is Milcah. So you have Milcah, Sarah, and
Right,
Lot. And Milcah gets
right.
married
So,
and she has Besuel.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So
okay.
now we get it. So Besuel is
Yeah.
the father of
Rivka.
Rivka. Okay. So now you see how this gene is going through the family. Okay. Then Besuel has Rivka, and who's her brother?
Lavan Arasha.
Excellent, Lavan. And who does Lavan give birth to? Rachel and
Yeah.
Leah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we finally understanding the lineage of this mishpacha. So there are some really good genes in this mishpacha. What does it show you though? You can have some really good genes. Not everybody's coming out the same way. Because no matter what your genetic makeup is, for the good, you got to use it. People who are born, like, you know, these kids when they're younger, like you sometimes see certain kids have a certain chain. You know, they're giving, they're cute, they're nice, they're
Yeah.
more, what's the word? They're more like, they'll be mevater. They're not so, you know what I'm saying? Like one of my daughters
Yeah.
always tells me, one daughter is an angry bird and the other one is unicorns and butterflies. Like in the same house, you know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So different. So
Yeah.
unicorns and butterflies doesn't mean she stays that way. You have to activate that muscle. An angry bird doesn't have to stay that way. Do you see what I'm saying? You are born with certain characteristics. Now you have to nurture what's your strength and you have to work with what's your challenge. Okay? So you could see the dynasty here. You see this incredible, you know, family of greats, but some of them are not. Some of them are pretty lousy, right? And they don't change and they don't grow. But you see the girls work on it and they work on themselves and they are challenged. Like the Rachel Leah sister story, that's not easy at all. Not at all. And Rivka and Yitzchak is not such an easy story too. Like it doesn't look like such an open-ended marriage. And to have a kid on the derech, off the derech, it's not easy. Do you see what I'm saying? And Sarah, not easy either. She has a lot. She couldn't have kids. She gets into that whole Hagar scene. Like these are not people with simple lives. These are very challenging, very ego threatening. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you look at this, everyone here, their ego is getting punctured, right? There's always a challenge here. So you see, right? What are you going to need? A lot of faithfulness. A lot of faithfulness. All right. And so they say like Haran or Haran is like hirayon, which means like a pregnancy. Like he gives birth to himself. He gives birth to these women. Okay.
That's
Good.
so beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. It's really like, this is all like, you know, beautiful midrashim. Okay. So he is the first one.
New things that I never knew.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. Okay. Okay, now let me just see where I am. Sorry. Okay, so we're coming very close to the end. Okay, we'll just do one last thing here. Okay, and because of this great faithfulness, like I said, we are the transmitters of Torah. It's interesting, obviously, Judaism goes according to the mother, right? So obviously, because you know who the mother is, even though you may not know who the father is, right? You always know who the mother is. But the Torah also tells you because the mother is the one who is going to transmit the Torah. It's going to come
Wow.
from her, which is
Wow.
beautiful. Okay, so now it says here, Batoch bo lev bala. Her husband always the heart of her husband trusts in her. V'shalal lo yachsor, and he'll never be missing anything. Okay, so the Torah tells you this is also referring to Sarah. And what's interesting is you'll see a lot of times where she gets nevuah and she has a deeper understanding than even Abraham. Do you know what I mean? Like she says, we got to get rid of Yishmael because had Yishmael stayed and lived with Yitzchak, who knows if Yitzchak would be alive? You know what I mean? If that Jewish people would have even continued, like he was a paradam. You know what I mean? Like we have no idea, as we can see today. It's not an easy story. Like we just have to daven at the end he did tshuva, and we have to daven that the world comes to some kind of understanding. So also batach ba lev bala is a little bit. It's connected to the fact that you have that faithfulness. You know what I mean? You're going to stick by your man. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I think women are more trustworthy in many ways than men. I mean, statistically. Okay, Vishallah lo yachsor, and you will. He never feels like he's losing anything. Like he has wealth. So what does that mean that he has wealth? What does that mean that he has wealth? So in some ways, the Torah will tell you that with Sarah, because of Sarah, he became wealthy, Avraham. Do you know what I mean? Like both times that she was kidnapped, so Paro and Avimelech, they give him a lot of money. Like they buy him out. You know what I mean? Like they go, whoa, we should never have taken her. You should have told us she was your wife. Please get out of here and take all this money with you. You know what I mean? So he ended up becoming wealthy because of that. But that's not what the real issue is. Real issue is, what is wealth? Wealth, we say, is Esahu Ashir. Anybody could finish it? Yeah, which means, what does that mean?
You're happy with whatever you have in life. You're
Yes.
rotten.
Yes. Okay, so this is a very important part, to the reality. It's hard, like we like gashmias. People like physical things. Women have a very like a lot of aesthetics. Like, like to us it matters. You want matching pillows, you know what I'm saying? You want their comfy this.
Yeah.
People like their jewelry. People happen to like a lot. Women can like stuff.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for us to be able to say, it's okay. I'm good. Sameach bechelko. I have what I need. I need what I have. You know what I mean? Like it takes, if you can put that into your home, it can change the entire flavor of the house, right? If you're going to be the kind of person who's looking over your shoulder and looking across the street and looking here and looking there, your husband's never going to feel he has enough, and you're never going to feel like you have enough, and no one's going to feel like they have enough. So really, you can set a real tone. That's what they're trying to tell you here. That the Aishes Chayil can set the tone, right, and put it into motion. So I'm just going to tell you a very nice idea. I'll tell you a quick story. It was with Rebbetzin Altusky, who grew up in Reb Scheinberg's house. So she told a story, but when she was little, Esther, you're going to appreciate this because it's in Yerushalayim where people had no money. Okay, all right. She grew up, there wasn't really any money in the house, but she never knew it. Like she never felt it. She never thought she was poor. Because no one in the family ever talked like that. So she went to school once and they were supposed to go on a school trip. And the trip was going to cost 10 cents. Okay. One of the girls, her name was Shoshana, she turned to her and she said to her, "You're not going to be able to go on the trip." And she said, "Why won't I be able to go on the trip?" I said, "Because you're poor and your family doesn't have money to pay for the trip." Goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." Imagine. She went home and the mother sees like she looks really down. So she says to her, "So, no, how was your day?" goes, fine. She goes, no, there's something bothering me. She says, yeah, mommy, you won't believe it, but we're supposed to go on a school trip and we need 10 agurot. And Shoshana said that we're poor and we don't have any money and I'm not going to be able to go on the trip. So the mother said to her, oh, Shoshana made a mistake. We're not poor. We have everything we need. We don't have money.
Mhm.
So many things. Okay. We have so much because she said, people who are poor, they usually can't give anything. But we can give. We always have guests for Shabbos and we lend our stuff and we do this and we give this and we give that and we give time and we give this. We may not have so much money, you know what I mean? But we're not poor. And then she turned to her and she said, I'm going to give you those 10 agurot. I'm going to give you those 10 cents. And then I'm going to give you 2 cents for a soda and another 2 cents for a soda for your friend Shoshana.
Wow.
They probably couldn't eat chicken on Shabbos that week. I just thought it was such a nice, a beautiful idea. So we're gonna stop over here. We'll pick it up later, but it's just an idea that you could set a tone in your house. And I think today this is probably one of the hardest things that's going on. Like when you're talking to anybody, even in any world, even in the Orthodox world, like all the kids want the exact same hairband, the same expensive shoes, the same this, the same that. And it takes a lot. Do you know what I mean? To be able to say, no, you know what I mean? We're going to have to go to the gemach and you might not always, you know what I mean? You'll have to get it from next year or this one or that one. But that's where we are. But we're rich in so many things. Just not money. You know what I mean? But we can work with that. All right. But so many people can have lots of money, but don't have lots of love and don't have lots of commitment and don't have people who care about them and don't, you know what I'm trying to say? So you really want to
Yep.
be rich. I'm not saying we don't want money. Hashem Yisparach bless us all. You know what I mean? And we should know how to use it and use it wisely. Right. But
Mhm.
but you don't want to, even people who have money, you don't want to have that attitude, right? That we just never have enough, right? Like no matter what vacation we went on, it wasn't good enough. This was never good enough. We never have enough. Because
Yeah.
it's true. You'll buy your shoes. The first day you feel great. Next day was just a pair of shoes, right? How many times have you done, retail therapy and then the next day therapy's over? You need more, right? So it's just a good idea. Okay, so we're all these beautiful women of valor. I don't know if Sandy Klish, are you still here, Sandy? Because I'm going to shut this off for a minute. Nope, I'm going to end. Sorry, cancel. Okay, so I want to do the Tehillim. So Sandy, are you here? Could be she had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, did she